Humans have always been fascinated by the ocean. After all, even today, we're not entirely certain what lies beneath the waters that cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface. So it's no wonder that storytellers throughout history, from the most ancient mythologies to modern monster movies, have populated those dark waters with all sorts of giant ocean monsters, ready to wreak havoc on the surface world at a moment's provocation. Some of these mythic sea monsters are so large they can lay waste to entire cities with ease, while others are no bigger than the creatures that actually inhabit the oceans of the world. But all of them have captured human imagination throughout the years. In this video, we will show you 10 amazing mythical sea creatures. Before we begin, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. With that being said, let's begin. Bakunawa. The Bakunawa is a serpent-like dragon in Philippine mythology. This sea serpent is so large it can swallow the moon. It's believed to be the cause of eclipses, earthquakes, rains, and wind. Depicted as long and sinuous, with a looped tail and horned nose, the Bakunawa causes storms, earthquakes, and eclipses. Although it was generally believed to be a sea serpent, there are also some suppositions that it inhabits the sky and the underworld. There is also good news, and this is the fact that the Bakunawa is afraid of loud noises. It is told that the ancient Filipinos were going out of their homes with pots and pans, and they were making noise to keep the moons from completely being swallowed by the Bakunawa. You might be wondering why eating a moon anyway. There are lots of answers, it only depends on who you ask. But there is one tale that says it was for revenge after humans killed their sister, a sea turtle. Others say it was because the Bakunawa fell in love with a human girl in one of the native tribes. Sirens. The Sirens were hybrid creatures with the body of a bird and the head of a woman, sometimes also with human arms. One tradition states their origin as companions of Persephone, and failing to prevent her rape, they were transformed into sirens as punishment. Historically, the creature is of Eastern region and came to Greece during the Orientalizing period of Greek art. The sirens had beautiful singing voices and were gifted lyre players. So wonderful was their music talent that it was said they could even calm the winds. Perhaps a little overconfident in their gifts, the Sirens once even challenged the Muses to a musical competition, but alas, without success. According to Homer, the Sirens lived on an island near Cilla and Charibdis. Here they awaited passing ships and with their lovely music enticed sailors to their doom. Indeed, the meadows of the Sirens' home island were said to have been perpetually layered with the rotting corpses of their hapless victims. Homer mentions only 2 sirens, while later writers often describe 3. The Aspidicolone. The Aspidicolone is variously described as a large whale or vast sea turtle, and a giant sea monster with huge spines on the ridge of its back. No matter what form this monster takes, it's large enough to easily be mistaken for an island by unsuspecting sailors. When sailors saw the creature's back, they would anchor their ship and rest on what they thought was an island. But as soon as they began to cook their dinner, the Aspidicolone would feel the heat and know it had fooled the sailors. It would then swim away, throwing the sailors into the sea. So, if you ever plan to sail and find an island, check if it has eyes and scales first. Cetus. In ancient Greek, Cetus is kind of some ambiguous monster that refers to any large sea creature or monster, though typically depicted in art as a giant serpentine fish. According to the mythology, Poseidon sent Cetus to kill the beautiful princess Andromeda, but the hero Perseus slew the monster before Andromeda was harmed. In a different story, Hercules slew Cetus to save Hesione. Even though Cetus is mythical, you can actually see the monster, and not underwater, but in the sky. A constellation named after the monster sits near other water-related constellations, like Aquarius and Pisces. Cilla and Charibdis. These 2 sea creatures count as one entry because of their linkage together in Greek mythology. They are described as 2 immortal and irresistible monsters who beset the narrow waters traversed in Homer's Odyssey. Cilla was a supernatural female creature with 12 legs and 6 heads on long serpentine necks. each head having a triple row of shark-like teeth, while her thighs were tied to the heads of flying dogs. In Ovid's Metamorphosis, books 13 to 14, she was said to have been originally human in appearance, but transformed out of jealousy through the witchcraft of Circe into her fearful shape. She was sometimes identified with the Scylla who betrayed her father, King Nisus of Megara, out of love for Minos, king of Crete. Charybdis, hiding under a fig tree on an ark on the opposite bank, drank and threw water 3 times a day and was fatal to transport. Her character was most likely the personification of a whirlwind. The shipwrecked Odysseus barely escaped her clutches, clinging to a tree until the makeshift raft he swallowed floated back to the surface after many hours. The idiom "between Cilla and Charybdis" refers to choosing between the lesser of 2 evils, as those who encountered the beasts would have to do. The Yumi Bozu. The Yumi Bozu is a sea-dwelling yokai from Japanese folklore. Its name is derived from the characters for sea and Buddhist monk, which also alludes to this spirit's possible origins. If you ever found yourself out sailing at odd tides in an unknown sea, Yumi Bozu is not the kind of monk you should pray to for help. The legend of the Yumi Bozu says that it appeared to sailors on calm seas, which quickly turned tumultuous. It either breaks the ship on emergence or demands a bucket or barrel from the sailors and proceeds to drown them. The only safe way to escape a Yumi Bozu is to give it a bottomless barrel and sail away while it's confused. Some also say that tobacco smoke, the Yumi Bozu's weakness, can deter the spirit. Most stories of the Yumi Bozu have been dismissed as strange shadows in stormy seas, but sightings of the spirit have been reported as recently as 1971, and the legend still lives on today. Tiamat. Tiamat is described as a goddess of the sea and personification of chaos. It's said that she gave birth to the first generation of gods, and later she was killed by the storm god Marduk. Tiamat is usually described as a sea serpent or dragon. The main myth featuring Tiamat is the Enuma Elish, where at first she is described as a positive-like mother figure, and later she is transformed into the antagonist. When her husband Apsu gets killed, she decides to avenge. She was then killed by the younger storm god and mythological hero Marduk, who divided her body to create the earth and sky. The Leviathan. It's a mythical creature with the form of a sea serpent in Judaism. It's referenced in several books of the Hebrew Bible, including Psalms, the Book of Job, the Book of Isaiah, and the Book of Amos. The descriptions of Leviathan vary according to each cultural source. Almost unanimously, it's said to be a huge sea creature. Some reports say that its body looks like the body of a whale, with a thick, cylindrical body and wings. It's sometimes described as a dragon-like creature, covered in a body of scaly armor, sharp claws, rows of shaved teeth, the ability to breathe fire, and a thinner, more serpentine body. The Leviathan often serves as a metaphor for a devastatingly powerful enemy, likely Babylon in the era it was written. Jormungandr. The meaning of the Jormungandr word is a huge monster. Jormungand, also called the Midgard serpent, is a snake or dragon who lives in the ocean that surrounds Midgard, the visible world. It's described to be so enormous that his body forms a circle around the entirety of Midgard. He's one of 3 children of Loki and the giantess Angrboda, along with Hel and Fenrir. The thunder god Thor is his particular enemy. 2 battles between them are recounted in Eddas. In one, Thor fishes Jormungand and only manages to pull him up when the giant Hymir, terrified that this will lead to Ragnarok, deflects the line, sending the snake back into the depths. However, when Ragnarok arrives, Thor and the Midgard snake are destined to kill each other. Some great info about the Jormungandr is that the mainland Germans attributed the earthquakes to his movements until the Middle Ages. The Kraken. In Scandinavian folklore, the Kraken is described as a legendary sea monster of gigantic size and cephalopod-like appearance. According to the Nordic saga, the Kraken lives off the coasts of Norway and Greenland and terrorizes nearby sailors. It's said it's a giant octopus with spikes on its suckers and is easily capable of capsizing a ship. Over the years, the authors have postulated that the legend may have originated from the observation of giant squid that could grow up to 13 to 15 meters in length. With the passing of our centuries, the Kraken has been an essential element of sailors' superstitions and myths. Even our days, some sailors are still looking out to see the fascinating Kraken while they travel the seas. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching. See you next time.